All right, and we're back. So, now Andrew, I just want to check. The last Bastion starts with its counter full, doesn't it?
Yeah, we if we were at the table, the players would fill in all of the boxes so
Yeah,
that we are all aware of the fact that it has 15 ticks, and
yeah,
if it
So we're
gets zero,
invested.
it's dead. Yeah.
yeah. So I've put the last Bastion just above the actual Bastion there.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like
And
that
then I've put
idea.
the one for the darkness down near this strange figure.
Oh,
Um,
yes. That's so
so, and
cool.
then we've got readiness next to the arc. Um, uh, cool. So, we have some downtime actions. During downtime, the characters get to make 2 downtime actions. This may play out as a collection of play-doh moments, or we might see a montage of the various activities happening. Um, so, the actions that are available are social link action, help a friend recover, investigate the darkness, work a long-term project. That's the 4, isn't it? Yeah.
And then help an engine recover in this one. Is a
Oh yeah, and
separate.
help an engine recover. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's functionally they're friends of
Yeah.
ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, if I may,
Yeah. No.
go on a little
Just,
ramble. Um, since this is our first downtime, basically so no one is injured, so helping a friend recover isn't going to matter. Um, and then we probably want to come out of this with at least 5 points on the readiness track, which
yeah, we
any
didn't
moves
learn
that
that
you
last
have
time.
that interact with investigate will map to readiness in this playbook.
Mm.
Um, and so we probably want to have at least 5 pips filled for that. We probably want some links, and if someone has a good idea for a long-term project, great. But we're not going to finish one of those before doing our first mission. So
Cool. Does anyone have an action they'd like to take? We'll do like one action each, and then go through again. Luke,
Swift wants
you
to
put
do
your hand
something.
up.
I want to hang out with one of my friends.
Oh well, too
Or
bad. This is an
rather,
authoritarian horror state.
rather, two of my friends.
Oh, what does this social link action look like?
So I think it's nighttime. And so like the city, like right, like everything is dark. Except that like outside the city walls, there's like this weird ghost light like glowing in places from just like the weird spoopy shit out there
Oh,
in
min
strange
lights are totally a
colors.
thing. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
we need to talk about the Min Min lights at some point. I have some fun. I have a fun story.
I didn't get to use them enough
Um,
in Damn Spirits.
yep. Um, I've totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, and
Sorry.
like down below, I think you're right. Like the city is all dark, but like from the bottom of the arc, this like one beam of brilliant like sunlight is still like shining down into the heart of the portal to keep watch. And I think Swift has taken Kristen Rama up to the top of the arc, like the physical, like not the top floor, like the like on top of it, on the deck slash roof question mark, depending on its architecture.
I feel like it has a roof at the top.
Yeah, so we're lying on the roof. It's probably kind of dangerous, but like, who gives a shit? Um, and so I think Swift has taken like the two of them up there, and is like laid out on the deck, on their back, like looking up at the stars, and is telling the other two like stories of uh the gods and of the culture that was like their culture, or her culture, and like kind of trying to show them that it wasn't always as shitty as their people have made it, and like there are other ways to live that perhaps like could be returned to. And also like we're rebelling just a little because I'm telling Swift's telling her versions of the stories, not the state's
Forbidden
versions of the story.
versions. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling the real fucking. I'm probably telling you about Sort since he's on my mind. Like I'm telling you about that one time I banged a god, and how like the whole flim flam they tell you about like betrayal and then redemption and all that shit is like completely not what happened. Um, yeah,
You two just had a bad breakup.
No, I don't think it had anything to do with that. But I don't like that's my line anyway.
Is that a thing you would like?
Oh,
Kristen Rama?
I mean, I have a promise, which is that we will not let Cert's stories be changed by Swift. So this is like so on the nose that she is choosing to do this. But yes, in a very like cynical way, they both totally want to hear all of these your like shitty versions of all these stories that we're trying to preserve, right? So we're just like, oh yes, go on. And they're like you know fawning over you and like touching your shoulder and being like, oh yes, tell us more. What's your other one? And then like exchanging significant looks with each other and like nodding while you're talking and like.
Cool.
So yeah, you can take an extra die.
Nice.
yeah, and I think like everything in the way that they interact with you is like tinged with this
Oh no, you went away.
melancholy.
Yeah.
What? Did I go away?
No, you're
Am I
back.
back now?
So it was just for,
Yeah,
for a second.
Everything's tinged with melancholy.
Yeah, like as though they're like worried about you in the future tense.
Yeah, like you're
Like,
talking
but
to your
like the
friend who you
future-
think is dying. Or
The future definite tense, because like
Yeah.
they know she knows like a bad thing is going to happen. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean,
So-
you wouldn't. Yeah, sorry.
I'm just trying to work out which action this is.
Are you trying to convince them that your stories are true, or like what is the? Is there an agenda here, or are you just sharing information? Because it could
Yeah.
just
It might be
if
confess.
there's no agenda.
I feel like it's either confess or empathize, because I'm just trying to figure out like if they're trying to, because in a lot of ways like this is a response to the fact that like she sees that the two of you stifle under like the strictures of this society and it's bullshit and is like, you know, admittedly not necessarily very well, but is trying to like give you support in that desire to like rebel against and have some freedom within those bonds. So like I'm fine with either empathy or confess.
You get to pick. You get to pick.
I know I do. God. I think it's empathize because it's not like a blurty thing. Like they have she has thought about this, right? Like
And it's not
the
something
figure
you were
is,
like hiding.
she's like
before
actively
either.
doing this. Yeah.
And you're paying attention to us.
Yeah, like it's about how you feel, not how
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
So it's empathize.
Go for it.
Cool. Position, effect irrelevant. Let's dice 1.
I mean, do you want to ask me a question from your gather info list? And I'll get one link.
Cool. Is that a thing?
I mean, I don't know. It's me offering you just for fun. Because also I feel like there's some tension between our characters, so
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, there's like a perfect one here. What does this moment reveal about my fated person? And you are my fated person.
Oh, great. Yeah. It reveals their like two-facedness.
Yep.
You'll pardon the pun.
All good.
But yeah, like the way that they're talking to you, at first you're like, yeah, they're really getting it, and then like you realize halfway through that like they are just playing the role of the audience for you.
It's a nostalgia thing because I have been played like this before by prior avatars of your god. Because you're always a fucking like this.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's they're very deep in that space.
Yep.
Andrew, do you want to explain that mechanic that's happening there? Because I'm trying to find where that's coming from.
Oh, there isn't a rule for it. I just thought it would be fun.
Okay,
to
cool.
do.
Great.
Sorry. Yeah, just ad-libbing a little bit. It's
That's
just,
fine.
Just
I
because
just-
they're rolling empathize directed
Yeah.
at me, and
Yeah.
so
That makes sense.
I might put that in, that it always gives you a little something.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's cool.
good.
Yeah, I think it's nice. Yeah, so I've got
Specifically,
one
this is about
link.
understanding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I got one link with Kristen Rama.
No,
Yeah.
so I get one link on my.
Oh fuck! Yeah, I always
You're
forget how.
Yeah,
giving
you
me
don't
stuff.
get one
Yeah.
Yes, I
unless you get a
remember.
crit, which you did
Yeah.
not.
So we
I'm
profit off of this.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
so used to like the blades way around. I will
No,
get it.
it's totally okay.
I love the way that this is like those things of like changing who gets the benefit out of things is really cool. Who wants
So
to
I'm
do?
done. That's it. That's the scene.
Kristen Rama, do you want to do an activity?
Yeah, they're. I think this is like we've already seen them do the first step of this, but this like series of educational passion plays for the people are going to contribute to readiness.
Cool.
And so yeah, they're like, uh, yeah, they're basically like this kind of part of the like propaganda package. But this week we're doing a set on like, um, yeah, like evacuation routes and patterns and like things to watch out for and all this kind of stuff. And so yeah, we're training all the children and the young
Is it?
folks.
I have a question. Is it about external threats, like threats from outside the walls, or threats from the portal to heaven?
Well, it's been adapted now. We've had to do a new version for like,
Yeah.
and so there's like a wilderness survival component, which is to say like how to ward off ghosts and spirits that will try to fight you when you evacuate the city.
Yeah.
Um,
That's all that the wilderness survival includes is
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
fighting bit.
I
You'll
love
probably
that
be able to
it's
work
still
out how to
called
make fire and
wilderness.
get food. You'll be fine.
It's still called wilderness survival.
Yeah.
yeah, but you know, surviving wild spirits and whatnot.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
What do you feel like that is?
It's either flow, which is so it used to be embody, it's now called flow, and it's about what did I write? What are my words that I wrote?
You can mouse over it. Move with grace and adapt to fit circumstances.
Yeah,
Is it
so I
about
think
going with the flow?
yeah, exactly, as in going with the flow, right? So I think this is that. It's them playing to everyone's expectations and just like filling in that space that, you know, the like cookie cutter form that is left for them. They just occupy it.
Cool.
And so let's see if I can actually make a difference.
Oh, hey, that background
I got
isn't
4.
really working. That's weird. Yeah, 4. Excellent.
Oh, it's probably because we changed the name and then the code for the template.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I can fix that in a break.
Okay, so anyways, we get 2 ticks
2 ticks.
of readiness.
Tick, tick. Yeah.
And then because it's built out of the investigate action, I think I still get to ask a question. So I would like to ask, and like we're going all around the city for this, and I'm wondering what here is incomplete
In the city?
in the city. Yeah.
Is this the thing? So for me, I want to ask like a clarifying question. Is this a thing about how you feel the city or how you see it, like physically, or in like are you intuiting this or are you specifically like looking?
Yeah, the vibe I would prefer is one of like what feels incomplete. Like they're
Yeah.
not being practical and like looking like, oh, there's a hole in the wall here, or like, oh,
Yeah.
some refugees have like built this precarious shantytown over here. No, it's like with the like spirit of the place, the feeling of it.
The people whose homes are near the whose homes are near the like the hastily established like Berlin Wall perimeter around the portal to heaven have not worked out that the danger that their lives are in, like being so close to the portal.
Right, they used to be in a high status neighborhood, and they haven't clued into the fact that it's now much worse than being on the
Yeah.
extreme opposite.
Yeah, there are children playing some kind of game that requires like toys or something that are expensive, and they're just like doing this like display of extravagant play in the street next to the wall. So there's like there are these like elaborate like beautifully painted. Oh no, not beautifully painted because that would be ridiculous. There are these elaborate like stone houses with like perfect marble walls across from like the concrete Berlin Wall perimeter. And there are these children playing some kind of game that involves like throwing expensive glasses or things around and trying not to break them.
Oh gosh.
No, they're shooting tin cans, but they're like expensive glassware.
Yeah, with like a little like crossbow.
Yep.
That shoots rocks, like
Yep.
shoots little pellets and things. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just playing in the street next to the thing.
Yeah, and so there's the like us as we're being like ushered from one venue to another, like the two of them just like both turn their heads in unison and like look at this thing as they're walking by.
Yeah.
And are struck by this image.
Yeah. Cool.
So just to clarify, so the answer is kind of that the wall is
Yeah, our
not as
our
The
cultural
people's understanding of the threat is.
Yeah.
yeah. Gotcha.
Exactly.
Yep. We don't appreciate its full seriousness.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
In the most literal sense, our readiness is incomplete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So who wants to go next? Does anyone else have an idea for Mel or Emily? Do you have an idea for a downtime activity you'd like to do?
I've got an idea for what I want to do, but I want to check first. Have we decided what the mechas look like yet? I can't quite recall. I know we talked about some things, but
No one
yeah.
has piloted one yet. We know what the like relics that.
Yeah, the relics that they start out as look like,
do
yeah.
the thing.
yeah.
I've put
Roughly.
while we're on this sheet on this screen, I've put the play sheet into a handout that you should have in your in your
cool.
journal.
Where would it be listed? Sorry.
Under handouts in
Oh,
your journal,
awesome.
like where your character is, there should be one called shared
Oh,
sheet
cool.
reference. I'll change that to
Yeah, it's our
Playbook.
filled out thing. It's rad.
So the idea I had was kind of doing a perimeter like scouting mission in the mech, but I was
Yeah, that's
We'll
a
probably
that's
need
a
to
thing you can
describe
do.
we'll need to like describe them.
If
for
you want to
that,
go, if you want to
so,
do, yeah, well then do it. Ready, like, yeah. So is that like working towards readiness?
Yeah. So investigating the darkness, basically like doing it like a just scouting run. The idea is like these nobles who, and this is like straight after the previous scene with Adna, and the idea is these nobles aren't just paying to like hang out or whatever. It's there's a like the whoever's controlling this has a purpose, which is like no, they like it's actually about making a show of the power and like this what they view as transcendence, which is the whole mecha thing. Like obviously there's another more genuine transcendence perhaps, but you know, it's a symbolic thing. So they get to go watch from the walls, basically.
Yeah, right. Yep. Yeah. They get to watch you do like
Participation.
the potentially dangerous war thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And doing the whole like summoning of the, and I don't think we see the whole like kind of getting into the mech thing. We just kind of we go to when she's already in the mech, like in the kind of the darkness, you know, circling the walls, and you know we see these people looking down from where they're positioned. I am going to choose an engine.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, it's not like people aren't like anchored to a specific one, are they? We get
Nope.
social links with
You
them,
can just
right?
choose.
Yeah, you bond with them if you have been piloting them for a little while, but you can change it up. And, yeah,
Yeah, cool.
but they're temperamental. They don't like changing pilots.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, well, if unless anyone desperately wants to have like a really strong connection to it from the get-go, I might go with Cassiel, or the reminder of hope given by Cassiel unto a bitter world, as it's formally known.
Can we just go through, because I've completely forgotten
Sure.
what forms they all are?
I don't know if we
The Mjolnir is the boots.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
The first one is the coffin.
Yeah.
That's the only ones I actually remember.
So,
I think
Because we should probably write it down.
Ophiel's-
I feel like
I've put them on here as little 4-stage clocks because I think they have a 4-stage harm clock, don't they, Andrew?
So they have 4 like harm boxes, and then
Yep.
they have a recovery clock as well.
So is that
for each
strength?
one.
So strength on the sheet.
Strength is like when they suffer harm, essentially they lose 1 point of strength.
So
Um,
so I just want to just for my own sake mechanically. There's 4 harm and there's 4 strength, and those are separate.
Strength and the harm they take is equivalent.
Okay, cool.
Think of those as being one and the same, and then they have a recovery clock that has a
Right, which is a 4-stage recovery clock.
Because we
Got
need to
it.
be able to help them recover.
Yeah,
just like
cool.
we have.
Cool. Just wanted to check.
The one that I put in there, which was Ophiel's sacred ambition, was the giant sword, the cloud style
Yeah.
Cool.
big fucking sword thing.
Yep.
I think it's got like an eye on it. Like somewhere it's got an eye that like.
Oh,
moves.
like
What is
transistor?
that? What is that from? Pardon?
Transistor, yeah, I'm thinking.
Yes,
Transistor is
that's what I'm
That's
thinking.
that's what it is. It's the talking
Like
sword
that.
with the
It's
sun.
that
It's the
sword. Yes,
talking
it's the
giant
talking
sword
sword
with
from-
with
yes.
an eye in it. Yes.
Yeah.
But rather than being a
Amazing.
big circuit board, it's legitimately just a sharp sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cassiel is the form is like a standard, like a battle standard.
Yes.
The central pole with the banner hanging down from it.
Yep.
You
This-
should be
this
able
is
to control
taking me
those
back.
tokens to put descriptions in if you want, as well.
Cunning harmony is a bow. I remember now.
Oh no, the descriptions will only be for GMs. Damn it! All right.
Yeah, in my mind, like it looks like a staff because it's not strung, but then when you take it, it strings itself, and it becomes apparent it's not actually a staff; it is a bow.
Cool.
I remember now. We should probably write that down somewhere so I don't keep forgetting.
Yeah.
And we did say something about we haven't seen any of the the forms that they take when we're piloting them. But we
haven't seen
did
that
briefly discuss that they kind of have various ways in which they sort of unfold to surround the pilot in some style. So I think that was all we really said.
Change depending on who's piloting them and all this.
Yeah.
Yes. And I actually wonder if maybe they change, their final manifestation changes depending on.
Yeah, well, I think I suggested something about depending on who's piloting them, different aspects of the myth are highlighted.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's great. Awesome. Okay, so I mean, in this scene, we're not seeing a one long unbroken cut of the engine, so I'm not going to describe it in exhaustive detail. But I'm thinking that this one, I'm just going to abbreviate to Cassiel, is an enormous suit of armor, with the banner kind of aspect of it translates into a cloak, this long flowing tapestry with just stories and decorations, kind of billows and swoops and that kind of thing. Color scheme of blues and dark blues and silver. Does that fit with how people are kind of imagining the engines? Obviously they don't have to be the same. They are
Yeah, I
kind
feel
of
like-
these god
I
things,
feel
but
like-
they can be very different. But
Yeah, I feel like engines are like when they're wielded, they create like the energy field that is then filled with either like matter that the engine creates itself or matter that is around.
Cool. Yeah, awesome. Great. Yeah, and apart from that, there's like kind of a if anyone's played or is familiar with like Warhammer, you'll know what I'm kind of describing, but like a metal like halo with spikes,
Yeah.
around the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like when I say suit of armor, it's not like bulky kind of tanky kind of armor. It's like it's pretty sleek and fast, and essentially it's like gliding through, like almost gliding on this cloak.
I feel like in my head, the armor itself is like almost like that same satin, but like hardened, rather than
yes,
being. Yeah.
Totally. And you know what? There's like heaps of this satin stuff in Adna's like cage.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have a temple. Do we have a term?
Yeah.
for them?
Well, it like in.
It's functionally a cage.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
It's the temple and our cages are all on the ark, aren't they?
Each
Did we
person's
decide that?
quarters maybe like a shrine.
Yeah.
Like we
I
each
know.
have a shrine within a temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't originally envisage that they were on the ark. But then I guess
The
I
ark
can't
is
really
where we
imagine where else
deploy
they
from,
are if
though.
the ark
Like,
is
Yeah.
above a big pit. So
Like the ark, like we can get on and off the ark and things, right? Like
yeah.
it passed.
It has a little like city in it,
Yeah.
right? As we described. I imagine like the temple is like the on like cargo ships and stuff, how they have the bridge. There's like the
That's what
crew
I was
on
thinking too.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the temple is like that. It like sticks up
Cool.
the back
Yeah.
end of it.
I tried to draw that in my little picture.
Yeah, you can see there's like a little
It's
element
really
of
cool.
it. Yeah. And so yeah, we get to hang out in a little. We each have our own little section of that.
yeah.
It's a real good picture, Ash.
It's awesome. I'm really into this.
Yeah.
The
I had
aesthetic,
fun.
like the colors are so good. Oh,
And I like
Um,
embedding the elements of play into this image. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So, Adna and Cassiel are essentially like circling a section of the city, just doing this border patrol, and we just see these like
Inside or outside of the wall?
outside
Yep.
to keep an eye on anything that might be coming from beyond the borders. And yeah, and so we're just seeing these kind of like it's like surprisingly kind of calm and like serene because it's dark. There's not really a lot of life out there, if I remember correctly. Like it's largely pretty desolate.
I mean, they're like life is coming back, right? You probably see some like woodland creatures amongst the like bodies,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so we just get glimpses of these like creatures kind of hearing something and looking out to sea, but there's not a lot of sound or anything. And there's every now and then we flash back to these like nobles and bigwigs, like kind of enjoying the view, and oh yes, rah, rah,
Like
wonderful.
applaud
Rah.
when you pass by. Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly, yeah,
And like
and
you have to do like fancy footwork and things occasionally just to like keep them
totally,
entertained.
yeah,
like
no,
like when
definitely.
people do like jet flyovers and they do flips and stuff.
There is absolutely that stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but like there is actually a purpose to it, which is keeping an eye on the perimeter and seeing,
Yeah.
like actually looking for any threats.
Yeah. Cool.
So I'm thinking that's perceive.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And with the downtime rolls, they're risky. It doesn't mean anything, does it?
Yeah, exactly.
not
They're
for
just
this bit, no.
functionals.
Oh no.
Oh, friendo.
Mm.
Yeah. I think what we see, right, is we see the bluebird again, right? But you don't, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Adna
Yeah.
does
Cool.
not spot.
The one with
does not
the
spot
one with
this,
the
like-
eyes.
Yeah, the one with the eyes.
Ah,
Right?
yes.
Just we see it like just flitting along and following you,
Yeah.
and like all you notice is a bluebird.
Shit. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, like, I mean, Adna's like pretty inexperienced, really. So it's probably getting caught up in doing the tricks and like doing the performance and not actually paying as much attention as she should be.
Yep. Cool. Awesome.
Cool.
Hey, Andrew, how much should I be giving you about what potential things might be happening? Because I feel like
Well, she
like
gets,
the
she
threats.
gets to ask you a question,
Yeah.
like I did.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is a good opportunity to foreshadow if you want to.
Yeah. Right. Cool.
And yeah, we get one more pip on the.
Like, yeah, it's interesting. Like the question I'm asking is, I think, about the like readiness. Is it preparation for a specific encounter, like the investigation track normally, or is it more about just general being prepared for anything?
Yeah, so with both, they're kind of they include both the larger overarching stuff as well as like getting ready
Chasing
for the
down
next.
specific leads.
And so like with investigation, when I have run this game, I've done like like you get some details that are foreshadowing the next bad thing that you're gonna fight or whatever, but then also details that tie into the broader darkness. And with readiness, I feel like you can foreshadow specific threats. You can also talk about just like the general kind of day-to-day aspect, because it's also something that we need to maintain, because it like we fill it and then it sets back and then we fill it and sets back.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Do you want to ask a question?
Awesome. So, I mean, what she should, the question she should have asked, and I would have if I'd rolled better, was...
So...
No, totally. I would have asked what should I look out for, but I think I'm actually going to ask who here is willing to do violence, because she's actually... Even she's not meant to be, and she's not trying to be, but she's paying more attention to the people on the wall.
Yeah, it's turned into like threats from within.
Yeah, absolutely. If is that like cool?
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking.
And something that comes to my mind immediately that we established previously was that the generals, the like people who waged the war in the practical way and like messed up the whole world, don't believe in our mission and don't believe that we should have ever even tried to like go to heaven. We talked a lot about their dissatisfaction.
Because there's this kind of split between like the generals and the church.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's pretty obvious that that these people, the enthusiasts, are mostly not willing to do violence. Like, they're not willing to stand up and fight. Right? They're not willing to fight for defense or things like that, right? These are a group of people who are there. They will do violence to protect their own interests, and more so they will have others do violence in their way, like for them. They're fucking bourgeois trash that will protect their interests with violence if needed, and will put other people in the way as ablative casualties before they stand up and fight.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
And like you have a whole section of your fandom that are ones that think that like your military prowess and your like fighting is like the most important thing, because then they're like, look, we have this amazing fighter that like goes and makes sure nothing bad ever happens.
Cool.
And protects our interests for money.
Sounds great. Yeah, both. Cool.
Cool. But we did advance that track by 1, didn't we?
Hooray!
Cool. Hey, Cert. What's up? What's the goo?
I would also like to do. I'm still fuzzy on all of the names of things, so I want to look at the list of like the action types. Can somebody list them for me
Social
again?
link action, help a friend recover, investigate the darkness, or work on a long-term project.
Okay, yes. So I want to investigate the darkness. I have a really interesting move, which is things feel, wherein I can empathize with non-human things. And I think actually that's something that no one or very few people, maybe only other pilots, know about. Like that's not a thing that is a like. I don't think that's a thing that was built into me. I think that is a thing that I get from being, from my people originally.
Right. Yeah.
So I think I kind of try to keep that a bit of a secret, because it's something that can be done so surreptitiously. I just sort of lean on things or pick up objects and look at them seriously. So I think I think there's sort of a thing that I've been doing when given the opportunity, which is like going into some of the buildings that are in this complex. So whether they're quarters for officials or of the church or of the government, wherever I can kind of be allowed because of my rank as captain, and just kind of like picking up stuff and looking at it.
Yeah.
So I think I would like to go to some part of the temple complex where there is where some priests kind of live and work. And I'm looking for items of power or significance that I can just put my hands on.
Sure. Do you have an intention? What are you hoping to gain?
I'm hoping I can investigate the darkness through them. Like I'm looking for things that for objects that know something of the ghosts and the demons, that kind of thing.
Yep. Cool.
Objects that have maybe come into contact with those kinds of entities.
Yeah.
What came from beyond.
Yeah, or came from the outside. Yeah.
What action are you doing then?
Yeah, that's a good question.
My feeling is perceive or analyze, but
yep. Yeah, I always remember.
So the ability is actually quite specific that you empathize with them.
That's right. I empathize with them. Yeah. Understand a person intuitively and feel their emotions as if they were their own. So in this case, yes, objects. Yep.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I was thinking about like finding the objects, but this is more about like you find the objects by default and you ask, this is about your understanding them.
Yeah.
Cool.
This is how well I understand them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do I roll that now?
Yep, roll that.
Okay.
Hey, you got a 2. Which means you get a question, and I advance the thing 1 track, 1 point.
Okay. So I can ask a question from any of the sheets that the crew have in play. Okay.
Yeah, all the other playbooks currently in. For this
That's
really cool. But I mean, there are a couple of really good questions, even just in mine. That'd be nice. Like I'm considering, what do I see here despite an effort to conceal it? But also there was a really good one. There was a really good one in the Guardian, because that's Adna. You're a Guardian, aren't you? Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
What is most dangerous here is not very specific. Oh no, I'm gonna go with one of mine. I'm gonna go with Okay, no. I'm gonna go with who or what doesn't belong here. And this is, and I've found some kind of object.
Yeah.
I'm imagining it's maybe like, I think it's a goblet. I think it's like a drinking vessel. And I sort of pick it up and like turn it in my hand and like run a finger along the rim and think about the various people and non-people who may have drunk from this. Yeah, I think it's I'm kind of asking the object
Yeah.
who or what doesn't belong here.
It doesn't belong here.
Okay.
It has been reforged or reshaped in some way, but it once belonged to your people. And it was once an object of worship, but it can't tell you of whom.
Right. It can't or it won't?
It's an empathy.
Like it can't
won't.
remember?
It won't.
It won't. Cool. It doesn't want to tell me.
Nope.
But it will tell me that, yeah,
It seems
was
kind of
something
haughty about
else.
it. It's like you're not important enough to know these things.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I don't think that bothers me, that haughtiness. I sort of like, yeah, I'm not. Cool. Okay. It was an object of some kind of worship and has been reforged and won't tell me who it was designed to worship. Cool.
But yeah,
Okay.
like that thing should not be in this particular part of should not be in the temple, really.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right.
Who wants to do another one?
I have one that involves Cert, so it would be
Yeah.
it would be a good like smooth
Yeah, let's do
transition,
that.
which is I want a social link with Cert.
Good luck.
I
No,
mean,
cool. All right.
we have ambitions for you for you to stay the same forever. So we're gonna go hang out with you and make sure.
I like that. Ambitions for you to stay the same forever. That's great.
And so I think they like bump into you like as you're leaving the like place where that goblet was, or like as you put it down, you hear them like glide into the room. And the two of them like come over to you and start like talking to you and just like kind of like grab your arms and lead you away, and they just like take you somewhere.
Yep.
I think they take you to like their cage,
Yep.
which has this very like there's lots of like places to walk behind things and reemerge, and like they do lots of like costume changes throughout
I
the
love
scene.
that. That's great.
There's way too many like
And,
changing
Like
changing
screens
frames-
and things?
changing screens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Collapsible. Yeah.
And it's totally got one of those like Janus doorways with like the sculpted heads on either on like the front of the door and the
right.
back over the lintel, but like they're different faces.
Yeah, it's the like tragic and comic faces and all that because we're the muses, right? We're the and so
I think Surt looks very awkward in this space. Like he's sort of perpetually very like tense and poised. So he's just kind of like standing in this space
and you're,
looking
like,
really
in the middle of a large space.
wooden.
Yeah. And there are like chaise lounges and stuff like this. Like it's a very like ancient Rome kind of vibe. And they're like chuckling and like pushing you around and like putting hats on you and shit like this. Are having they're both having a conversation with you where they exchange
like alternate sentences.
Yeah, they're doing that whole creepy thing
Yeah.
about they're talking to you about like your your story, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they want to hear, because now they want to hear your version of it, having heard someone else's.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like interrogating you, so that, and like in this way where they're like, yeah, we want to like do your story, right? So they're like asking you so that they can portray you better,
Right.
and they start like quizzing you about elements of the history that they know. And so like Christ comes up to you and is like, well, I was thinking I would play you, and that Ramar would play the like woman who seduced you, and like while they're saying this, they're like running a hand along like the back of your neck and stuff. And then Ramar walks up and like shoves Frist out of the way and says, and I was gonna be the one that spurned you, and like pushes you into a chair and like gets all over space, and like yeah, there's this weird like flirtatious thing. They're very like playful and like weird and constantly switching places, and yeah.
He's the whole time, I think he's very much got this expression of just like just sort of patiently waiting for like this thing to like stop. Like he doesn't seem particularly sort of into it or distressed, just kind of like, okay, yep, all right.
I'm in the appointed place and will remain here for the appointed time.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like?
No. Not at all. No, I think he's I think he's not like he's not actively sort of uncomfortable enough that he would remove himself from this situation, because I feel like this is a thing that maybe like has happened before, like that he's used to about the way that these two behave. So I don't think that he is sort of like taken aback or disturbed by it. But I think he perceives himself as like he's here to give them something to do. You know, he's sort of being the like, I am the plaything. I will like sit here and be this plaything because these two are bored. But yes, I don't think it's a thing that he likes.
And the tail end of it is them in these poses of like exaggerated attentiveness, being like, so tell us the story. Like,
I have a question. Is this the question? Is this the story of sort of the person who is an avatar, or the myth that's sort of
it's
like sort
incredibly muddy and unclear.
Yeah,
which is
that's what I was assuming.
Gonna
yeah,
say. I was thinking like,
Excellent.
yeah, and I kind of love the idea as a slight side note that we're all a bit confused about those things in each other and in ourselves,
and
as
especially Kristen Rummer both, right? Like, because they take on roles and
exactly, because you've got this added layer of persona. So is there a question of like what does he tell you or not tell you? Is that a thing that we?
I mean, we can like, it can be like we fade out on you speaking.
Yeah.
Because I think he's going to try and like evade that as much as possible. So I think if anything, he plays into the game in that he begins to tell the story that is like, you know, very clearly a rote story. You know, it's part of like the speech that he gives. And he sort of like begins to tell it to you as though you'd never heard it before. But of course you've heard it like a million times.
Yeah. And they both like sigh and do these exaggerated, like they both like fall away because they're like, oh, how dull. And, like,
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna roll empathize for this one.
Cool.
Because we are trying to understand you, be your friend.
Who's the
We just
in
have a weird
Oran
way
High,
of going about it.
in Oran High School Host Club? Who's the dramatic one?
Oh yeah. Yes, I can't remember, but yes,
it's
I know
in my
what you
picture
mean.
when they do the.
Yeah.
And so you get 2 links with Thurston Rock.
Cool. Okay, so I put that. So I go add link, and then I put like.
Yeah, my name and then.
And then 2.
Okay.
And like at any point does does he smile or like show any sign of enjoyment or anything?
Let me think. What would be
Because
the? I think
they're being
there's got to be
silly,
something.
right?
Yeah, they are exactly. I think there's got to be something. That yeah, that he finds endearing and pretends not to. And I'm just trying to think what it is.
Is it the last bit where they're just like, "Oh, don't tell us the like boring story," the
Yeah,
like
I
rote
think
one,
maybe it
and
is. Like, I think that
but
sort
that
of
also breaks the expectation that you have to tell us anything. We're just like, "Oh, okay,
yes.
fine, like don't bother."
Yeah, exactly. And I think that like because he is in an evasive way, but he is still kind of engaging with like the game, the play element of this interaction, in that perfectly well that that's not a new story, and that's not the story that he like that's not the whole thing, that's not the thing he believes. It's very obvious when he tells it to you.
I mean, it's not like his story personally either.
Exactly, but it's what he's gonna tell you. But yeah, so I think that the reaction of like, oh, it's very dull, as opposed to like aggressively pressing him for information or something. I think that is the thing that he finds sort of amusing or endearing. Yeah, he smiles at that.
I'm getting like I'm getting such an Oran vibe, like between
Yeah.
Kyoya and
Yeah.
and Hikaru and Kaoru, like the twins and the tall dark handsome is like yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Who wants to do another action? Luke, do you have one?
Okay. I have two thoughts. So I want to open it up to the table. Like, we're at we're like one away from filling a tier on the investigation clock, and we should do that. Like, I'm happy to do that if everyone else has firm plans. But if someone else was thinking of going investigate, I have another thing also.
I mean, I'm all spent, and I tried to do my part and help out. So
yeah, we've got Mel has done an investigate. I think.
Yeah, everyone's done an investigate except me, so I guess it's my turn.
It's your turn, friend.
Yeah. So I don't know how gilded Swift's cage is. Both because like one, they're like she's like a shitty inconvenience that like came back in time to like be annoying to the priests and like complicate everything. And also because like the fact that she can step out of the flow of time and fucking teleport means that they kind of recognize that like it's it's not
I feel like if I were them, I would put something in your cage that lures you back that you don't want to leave alone.
Okay, is it nature? Is this the one place in the city where profane nature can be found?
Yeah, I think it's got to be a specific instance of nature, right? Like it's got to be a thing.
Yeah, there's a tree.
Yeah. Is it a cutting from from a tree that is like as old as you are?
Yeah, it's a fucking like it's from like a tree that like visually is somewhere between like a Japanese maple and like a weeping willow.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's got the long like bowed kind of like dangling limbs of a weeping willow, but like leaves kind of more like a Japanese maple. And I think it's like this small tree in the middle of her room.
Is it like a bonsai, or is it like larger?
No, it's like a tree, like a sapling.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit taller than she is, and like the trunk is still kind of like a bit weedy, but like it's got a good amount of leaves on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like both from her past like role as a shaman and also like the way I'm interpreting the time traveler thing to function, I think Swift has a level of access to heaven that is like above and beyond the other characters because it doesn't require physically like going there always. Like when she like stops time and teleports, like that involves like going through heaven somehow.
Right.
like
yeah.
a deeper layer of heaven or some shit like that. And so I think we see her like kneeling in this like ritual posture under the tree, and there's like the room is dark, and there's one window along the wall of it that looks out over the city, and something about like the way the light is coming in off the glass like vaguely suggests the impression of a bird-shaped, roughly owl-like thing perched on one of the branches, but like it's just a trick of the light. It's just a trick of the light, audience members. And she's like listening to the deeper layer of heaven.
Yeah. Right.
Like not the one that we can access, which like I don't know about anyone else. I'm kind of like picturing it with like an ocean metaphor, like not that first underwater bit that we can go through, but like the fucking like abyssopelagic bit where the gods live.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
And she's listening to like the very distant echoes of that thing and like passing them into like meaningful information about what the fuck is happening.
Cool. What do you think that sounds like?
I mean, it's definitely the investigate action. I think I'm analyzing. I think like I am 110% like looking, whatever it is, looking underneath the underneath. What is it?
Looking for the hidden information.
Yeah, something like that.
That sounds good.
Yeah, beyond the surface presentation of the world. Yeah,
Cool. Roll it.
That is what she is doing.
Very nice. You get 2 spaces.
Yay!
Do you want to ask a
Andrew,
question?
does that mean I get 2 questions?
Usually, no. Like maybe you get more detailed.
Yeah, you
answers
get more
for
detail.
rolls, but
Cool.
that's totally up to Ash how many questions she wants to give you.
If you don't ask a good enough question, I'll make you ask another.
Yeah. I mean, I know exactly what I'm gonna ask because I'm the fucking time traveler, and I always have the best investigate question. What really happens here?
What really
Like,
happens here? In
the next week? What really happens here in the next week? What's coming immediately in the future? Specifically from like heaven and the direction of like down below.
You hear, I think, like the sound of gurgling, like a bath running, like the sink in a bath, like at the end of it, like the like sound of like of a drain. But you can't tell the difference between that and the sound of coins, like clinking, like Donald Duck, Scrooge McDuck, like just piles of coins falling onto other coins, and those 2 sounds are the same sound, and it is pouring towards you.
Do I know this god?
I think you knew. So I want to talk about you were a shaman, which means that you kind of like understood gods. Like gods as they are in the sky, when they like would like you could speak to them and you could see them walk amongst men, right? Is that my understanding?
and also I think like this is my version of that one, right? Like I could physically enter heaven.
Yeah.
Like in the same way that this generation can, like I could do that thing too for bloodier, weirder, more like arcane ritually reasons.
And is this like a stepping sideways kind of vibe where you would just like pass into the
Yeah, exactly. Like I think it involves like natural veils. So like it was normally like through mist or through like a sheet of rain. It's Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell is what I'm thinking about. Like all of those like weird sequences where people just like walk through raindrops and then just like become rain and like appear elsewhere. It was that kind of thing.
All right. I think you do know that sound, but you remember it as beads. as glass
You
beads.
didn't have money
and
back then.
it was, even if you had money, that wasn't what the point was, right?
Yeah, right.
And I think you remember, you definitely remember, that there was a person, there was a deity that you were never deemed wealthy enough to commune with, right? Like he would always turn away your
Yeah.
advances.
Yeah. Cool.
Um,
I was too
I-
much of a peasant. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I was those poor fans who Adna let down earlier, and
Yeah.
he was at.
And I think you don't know his face, but you know that there is a sense of consuming about him.
Yeah, cool. So capitalism, basically, is what you're telling me, Ash. That's what I'm hearing, anyway. Yep, cool.
I feel like that's 2 pips worth of
Yeah, I am satisfied.
cool. Who hasn't had 2 actions yet? Mel, do you want to do one?
Yeah, sure thing. So, I would like to do something with Swift. First, Swift, can you remind me what the promise is that has to do with Adna?
I will teach you what is the exact word. I like the wording I picked. Give me a moment. I gotta find it. Blah blah blah. Something. Blah blah blah. I will teach Adnakiel about the cold truth of our world.
Cool. Okay, great.
I'm gonna add the cold hard truth of our world, because our world is cold
Excellent.
and hard, and
That's
you are not.
great.
You're beautiful and soft and lovely.
So Adna wants to spend some time with
Oh.
Swift. Do we know about the time traveler thing?
Yes, I think
Okay.
I think
You can't
it is
escape
hard.
it. Like it's just
It's hard
Yeah.
not to. Like, I'm very out of my time always.
Yeah,
And
cool.
you speak
Okay.
a weird dialect of the language.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I have
you've
even
moved.
even
You've
though I've,
managed to move your speech from being like Chaucer up to Shakespeare so far.
Yeah, exactly right. Like,
Oh, and you described too. You have a thing where your voice has a delay
Yeah.
Oh,
because your
yeah.
time is slightly.
yeah, every
That's
so there's
so
like a weird
cool.
glitch thing.
Yeah,
That's so cool. Is that just a way to
Yeah.
explain if your internet slows down slightly and you're kind of but yeah, okay, so Adna wants to spend some time with Swift because she doesn't really know Swift and is kind of intrigued as well. But okay, based on how badly I rolled for my social obligation, Adna has no time in this fortnight or week or whatever. So it if she's going to do that, it has to be at something else. So she has an appointment to see an opera, and she'll invite Swift to come along too.
Yeah.
And the opera is I'm thinking it's on the outside of, maybe even at the front of the arc, and it's basically a half Colosseum built into the front of the arc, and there's
this-
seating, kind of tiered seating areas. So
There's an opera on at the moment about safety and about how to get out of.
Yeah,
Oh my
and
God.
the two of us
It's-
performing it in masks and big robes,
Yeah.
and swords and stuff. It's a very kabuki theater thing.
Awesome. That's great. And I'm picturing as well, basically, this kind of Colosseum area with, the seating, it, flips when things go to hell and there's cannons there instead. Because it needs to be used for, warfare as well.
Yeah, I love
Yeah, so, and they're, sitting in the private box, essentially. And it's Chris and
but on
Roman are,
display.
singing, or, whoever's in it. But, Adna's whispering to Swift anyway, and is kind of just asking a lot of questions. It's so what was it like to not be? Do you know what it's like to not be like us? To just be a person? Because you were somewhere else before you came here, right?
Yeah.
What's that like?
I haven't decided yet whether like
Uh-huh.
whether it was like a ritual at Swift's birth that made her like if it was the same kind of thing, or if it was like an initiatory ritual like in her teens. I haven't decided yet.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's Adna's question. Like,
so I'm about to make a decision in how I answer that question. I think it was like a later thing. I think like she chose this. It wasn't chosen for her.
Cool.
And yeah, so I think, in fact, like I think she may even have like invented the proto. Like I think she was like the first person to figure out how the fuck you do the shaman thing.
Cool.
And so
that's
she
awesome.
created the blueprint of, because she's the mechanic. Like she created the blueprint of what you all are now like fucking doing today.
Totally. And I mean, like from meta level, that gives you a really interesting kind of perspective on it all and everything. As the only person who's in any way like that. Kind of approach.
And so I think I think she starts telling you about her childhood, like her normal, mundane, actual childhood, which involved a lot of like running around the forest and climbing trees and swimming in actual nature water and like all of these like edgy activities that are a bit dangerous.
Cool.
And I think there's a lot of like deliberate juxtapositions between like on stage, Tristan and Rama are explaining to us how to like do like wilderness survival and like not get eaten by a ghost.
Story about like a young person who has to like travel through the land of ghosts and like
exactly right. And I'm like you're like, oh, and then like the terrible fox ghost appears, and I'm telling like an idyllic story about like that one time I met a fox ghost when I was a kid. And so there's this like tonally incongruous thing going on through the whole scene.
And I'm like various points like that. Adna's like shocked, like a ghost that didn't try to kill you. What
the fuck? That's weird. Yeah. Yes. So I think Swift definitely enjoys this. In like a bittersweet way, because like she gave that shit up, and also like literally every person she talks about in any of these stories like is dead, like 10,000 years worth of dead and never coming back. So like it's a bittersweet enjoyment, but I think there is pleasure in it nonetheless. So you get +1D.
Awesome. Also, Liam made a great point in the chat, like disapproving looks from handlers, like
fucking totally.
So there's like Adna's like, sorry,
but they can't make a scene because it's the opera.
It's a private booth, but it's totally on display. Like the layout means that we're like the focus of attention.
It's super inappropriate. Like,
but fuck that. Who cares?
Yeah, and like so like Adna's like kind of like cycling between like clearly getting like overexcited and like super curious about what you're saying, and like and like I'm like embarrassed or like upset. Like, oh no, shit, I'm not. I should be quiet. Yeah. Great. Okay, so I get +1 dice. What is this?
Good question.
I mean, I imagine it's probably like empathize or analyze.
I feel like it's more perceive than analyze.
Yeah, fair. Yep. Oh no, I don't think it is perceived, because she's trying to. She's not just trying to.
That's a good point.
She's actually trying to draw meaning from it.
That's a really good point.
So I'm leaning towards it being analyze. Cool. Okay, I'm glad I get the bonus dice because I don't have any. So. Hey!
Yes! I get
Very
2
nice.
links with you. And you, because Andrew invented a new rule, get to ask me a question.
Okay, like one of my gather information questions, or?
That's what it sounded like Andrew was saying.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Okay, sweet. Okay.
On the fly.
I feel like this is like at your option.
Yeah.
For her, that question, right? Like.
So is it at So it's at the player being linked at
Yeah.
this option? Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, so she asks the question, I choose whether to answer it. Gotcha.
Okay. I'm going to throw you a curveball. What's most dangerous here?
Other than this seditious propaganda that she is espousing.
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel like that is definitely a thing here that is dangerous. I feel like it's the fact that Swift genuinely wholeheartedly believes, and not in like a naive or an idealistic way, just like in a like really genuine way, that your whole culture is like too head up about the ghosts.
Okay.
Like
cool.
all they need is some empathy. Like all you need to do is fucking like apologize and own up to your shit and start engaging with the spirits properly again, and and the outside would be safe again.
Yeah. Cool.
And like, so she has no fear of going outside and interacting outside, and is not going to have any wariness about like missions that involve the group of you going there or like encouraging you to go there. Like she's just like, yeah, the outside is fine. We just like, I know how to deal with ghosts. It'll be okay. Like it's fine.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And I think that could well be very dangerous.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like it ends
particularly
on, like,
to you.
something. Yeah. I feel like the scene ends on a note that has something to do with that. Like maybe like some realization and Adna kind of like quietens down.
Yeah, the play ends with like a sword fight between the main character and one of the
it's like dead king of some,
the fallen people, like of Surt's people, and I just like let out this kind of like scoffing noise, and I'm like, that's not at all how you pacify an angry ghost.
Yeah,
just in this totally matter of fact tone.
I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you want to do a?
Yeah. So just to, because I am still fuzzy on mechanic stuff. How are we doing for our readiness and etc.? Like
we have 5 out of 15 total. So sorry, 6 out of 15 total. Every 5 makes things better. So we're up 1 tier on the advancement out of possible 3.
We're at the like waterline now. Our head is above water, essentially.
And it would need to be in blocks of 5 for it to.
You would need 4 more to get up to the next one.
Yeah, which is unlikely, isn't it?
Because it does drop by half, any progress is good.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
you
true.
Can set us up. Half of what you give us now will roll over.
And also, like, you can't take the circle's chill link action because you're the stranger.
Oh, yes.
You're not good at doing friendship or helping recover. So you can only increase readiness or start a long-term project.
Cool. That is fine.
Ooh, Andrew.
Sweet.
Can help an engine recover? How do those mechanics interact?
It's the same as doing the help a friend recover action. So
can the stranger do that, or can they not?
No, they can't.
No.
Yep. No. Cool.
Unless they take safety.
Unless they take the weird cat leaving dead things move.
Yeah.
Okay, so and there is no limit. Like I can do the same action. I can do 2 of the same action, or I can't.
Yeah, you can just like investigate again.
Do a different investigation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think. So what if we? I'm just trying to like remember what sort of like strange things have we collected information about. There was the like god of capitalism. There was a weird bird that wasn't spotted. There was the fact that the upper
people
class
are deeply oblivious.
Yeah, way too close to a very dangerous, not substantial enough wall. And
it's the bit where the Australians are introduced in Pacific Rim, when the kaiju just fucking smashes through the containment wall.
And also I was speaking to a goblet that used to be something else that used to belong to my people.
Yeah, there's that notion of like, my takeaway from that was like us taking these things from their appointed places and changing them.
That
Isn't
feels
Yeah.
like a thing that the
Yeah.
ghost might be riled
Feels
up
like maybe
about.
a metaphor for some engines or something. Yeah. Okay. Or us. Or me. Feels like a metaphor for a lot of things.
I reckon it's like a hey, we like it's not just that we made the ghosts angry, like on an ongoing basis we are continuing to make the ghosts angry.
our cultural
Yeah.
practices are inherently problematic.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know this
Good job,
already.
team.
Okay. I'm gonna would it be possible that Trist and Raumer, when they like came to see me during our interaction, would they have maybe mentioned anything about like going and looking at the wall or that kind of area? Like, is there any indication that that do I in character know that that is a place to investigate the darkness? Is that a thing I already would know?
Oh, I think like
I think that's a
you
very
can have that information in this way of them like venting to you about how like they're doing all of these things to educate the people, and the people are so clueless.
And yeah,
Like
cool. Yep.
long suffering sighs and hands on foreheads about it.
Yep, cool.
they just
All right.
don't listen.
Exactly. Well, I'm gonna go for a walk down through that area and sort of like walk alongside the wall and run my hand along it and talk to the wall a bit.
See how the wall feels.
See how the wall feels. Yeah.
Roll empathy.
Which I think I maybe have done before because it's, that's a good object to ask because it knows a lot of stuff.
Yep. Roll empathize.
Okay. Right. Ooh. Yep. One.
Oh, point of order, you should be getting +1 die for this. So rather than rolling at 0, you should be rolling at 1.
Roll it.
Oh.
So type roll 1d6. Oh, was that at 0? Was it? Okay. Do you just want to do it again, M? Just do it again, M, with 1 bonus
Okay.
dice.
Yeah, because
Okay.
anytime you do this
Empathize
particular
thing.
downtime action,
Yep.
you
Okay. Sorry, I missed that one.
Which means you should have done it last time as well.
The same.
Alright. Well, that was fun.
Yep.
We move up one place. The wall
Yikes.
feels... Do you want to ask a question?
So yeah, do I get to ask one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What do I see here despite an effort to conceal it?
The wall speaks to you of its youngness and its like feeling of being unprepared. That it is a child dressed in an adult's clothing. It's a child soldier, right? Like it's a child being dressed up in armor and put on the front line.
Yeah. Okay. I love that this is like most of my downtime is just me picking up objects and going, yeah, me too, buddy. Like that's what I do in my spare time.
Cool. So as you're doing that, is there any more that happens in downtime?
So we could
Or we pick a mission, don't
Or
we?
you could pay.
we can do a mission, or we can faff about and take more downtime actions, and basically the darkness track advances. The other thing, Ash, is that the Bastion does stuff
Oh,
during
right.
downtime, which should do it at the start.
Sorry, yeah, we should have.
So
We totally forgot this when we did
it,
our one
it
shot.
takes an action. It rolls a number of dice equal to its current tier, so it's going to roll 3 dice to start. It rolls a number of times equal to the current darkness tier, but always at least 1. So once things get worse, the city is like more, active.
Yeah,
because
right.
They recognize that there's a threat, whereas right now they're idle, and we'll see what that means. So It has a priority list for actions, so the first thing it'll do is help engines recover if any are damaged. It'll work on a long-term project for the flagship if a project is already underway. It'll increase readiness if the darkness track exceeds current readiness. It will help the Bastion recover if there's any harm there. And if none of those things are true, it will increase the darkness track.
Right, well,
so
off we go with the
The
darkness,
darkness track goes up by 2,
Yep. Uh-huh.
Hooray!
which is the
Strife and petty.
all the petty bullshit that they
Yeah.
get up to. They're not
So
busy
that goes up by 2.
actually surviving.
Nothing. No outside threat is unifying them, and so instead it's just bullshit, petty, internecine.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Nonsense.
Does anyone want to do more downtime actions with and advance the darkness?
So is it basically like we can choose to do ones beyond our 2, and there's like a
Yep.
step-by-step cost?
We gamble.
Yeah.
Every time you take 1, you roll.
Mhm.
We would roll like a single die. Actually, right now we roll 0. And if it's a low number, we advance the track by 2.
Mm.
If we get a 6, nothing happens. But yeah, so we can gamble, but
No,
it
I'm all
doesn't
good.
feel.
Doesn't feel like we.
I think we're well set up.
Yeah,
And I
we're
just
good to do it.
want to check as well, like, is free play a thing? Like, we can just do, like, go have a
Yeah.
conversation with someone, that kind of thing?
Yeah, any
Anyone
scenes we want to do, we can do.
need to do
I'm all
that?
good at the moment, yeah, I was just checking in general.
Yeah, definitely. Well then.
So
Sorry.
like maybe after the break, but like I feel like in the lead up to us like choosing what mission we're gonna do, I feel like there is a scene where Swift is like, "Hey, so capitalism is on its way to fuck us up."
I mean, I'd like to
I'd
get to the start of the mission if we're going to do one before the break.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Set up.
Yeah, so I think fuck, I'm just trying to think, like, do we tell the priests things? I don't know that Swift tells the priests things.
I mean,
Willingly.
Swift has to be like tortured to give information, so
Yeah, exactly, right? So I think it's more like
We kind of coordinate our own stuff, is the impression I have.
I think I tell Kristen Rama, who can tell Adna.
I tell people everything.
And this is the thing, yeah. Like,
Who can hold off until the very last moment and then tell Adna?
there's this snitch among us. So yeah, the 3 of us, or the 4 of us who aren't Adna,
Yeah.
probably
Yeah, and
do
then
the
I think-
planning, and they're like, okay, rookie, get in
Yeah.
here.
And
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
I like
I mean, I'm
yeah,
not
so,
trying to snitch, but like, I don't have that distrust that the others do.
so I think like I tell Kristen Rama like in person. Like we have another like starlit friend date, and I'm like, yo, capitalism, it's bad. And then also I pluck a leaf from the tree, and I concentrate really hard on the information I got, like, and the emotions it provoked in me, and then I leave the leaf in Stuart's quarters, just like on a table. And that's how I communicate things to Stuart.
So that's interesting because then, yeah, that means that you, you know about that capacity.
I mean, to my mind, some of my people could do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's
your
a really old ability. Yeah.
Yeah, like some of us had that, and they were
Yeah.
the ones who kind of like
Yeah.
formed your side of things.
Yeah. So I think you know about it
And some of
because
us
you're
didn't.
from the past.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep. And it's very, I think it's interesting because I think like any time that you communicate this way, like Stuart finds it like very sort of disturbing because he doesn't like the fact that you know that.
Yeah.
Because he
yeah.
doesn't like people to know what he's doing.
I wonder
But it
if
works.
like
It works
I
very
wonder,
effectively.
I wonder if like the ability to like willfully encode information into objects to then be read wasn't like a big sacred secret among your people that like
Right,
most people can do.
yeah.
But I'm just like casually, I'm just like, yeah,
Just
this is
casually using it to pass
just-
notes in class.
this is
Yeah.
like how we did it, man. Back in the day, this was the thing. Here you go, have a leaf. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just leave a leaf on your dining
Yeah.
table or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think the message is basically like something is coming, something is rising from the deeps. It smells of greed and hunger and wealth and privilege, and the desire to consume all before it.
Okay.
How is this
never-
not
I-
our society?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
know,
gonna say,
Yeah,
is
like,
it
I-
the city we live in?
Yeah, it's not as I remember it. Wholly, like it has changed in the years since. I never met it, but I remember its name.
Okay.
What's its name?
Can I tell you after the break?
Sure.
Yep.
And in terms of what mission we're gonna do,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Do we wait for it to come to us, or do we do like a?
That's what I was.
Do we dive in and go after it?
I feel like diving in is dangerous, and like
it's cool, so we should do it.
Yeah,
look, I feel like
we dive in.
if it's gonna come to us, we should just like hang out and wait.
Yeah.
Like we should be ready.
Here is my argument against that.
Okay. Feel free.
Our troubled captain knows
Mm-hmm.
that the walls that we have built are trash, right? That we are like so vulnerable to things actually coming up out of that thing.
Yep.
Like we need to be.
So here's my argument.
Absolutely. It is our duty to protect the civilians.
We're not ready for. We're not equipped. We're not prepared for a tier 2 mission.
It's just minus 1 die. It's fine.
Minus 1 die in the engagement roll.
It's fine. It's fine. We're just gonna get more desperate rolls, get more XP. It's great.
But if we don't go fight it, it'll come to us.
Exactly.
Okay,
here's a question though.
Get hurt.
Here's a question though. Is there a third option? I mean, the third option may involve us having more information that we don't have, but is there a third option wherein we draw its attention elsewhere in like either elsewhere in sort of heaven plane or elsewhere in non-heaven, such that it doesn't come out in the city?
That would be
like,
hunting,
hunt
right?
it.
To go
And actually,
and
you know what?
do a thing.
You know what, Andrew?
Yeah, something that distracts this creature, or,
Yeah, we
or
are
Deal
not
with
afraid
it. Deal with
at
it
the city.
preemptively, or deal with it reactively. These are the two.
Yeah,
like,
these are the options.
Look, I feel like I changed my mind. I gotta stick to my guns. I've spent a lot of time sitting in the chat of Blades games.
Talk shit.
Talk shit, roll crits, encouraging people to just go desperate as fast as possible and die for the bottom. Fuck it, I'm in.
cool, sweet.
Does this sound good to everyone? We gotta be we're heroic. We go down into it. Yeah. So Ash, I think there we go. We have consensus.
Cool.
Cool.
Awesome. So
And I'll
I think
I'll
that
give it
I
a
think
name of a break.
I think what happens, what we see on screen, is we see a giant golden coin the size of a bus just get flung up out of the hole, the portal, and crash crash with an almighty clang into onto the street. And then the children that were playing just scatter, and all of these fashionable rich folks all come and try and work out how the fuck they can get it.
Chip bits of it off.
And meanwhile we cut to the arc where everyone's gearing up, and we'll cut back after the break.
It's like battle stations, and it's descending into the portal.
Yeah,
On the anchor.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. All right. We will be
Awesome.
back in a break chat in a minute chat. Bye.